road bike, sort of not too big and quite fun.
But who will ride these bikes on the racetrack? What we really need to know is how they both go on the road. Let's examine the RGV 250P. Just when you thought the 250s had died, taken over by the 400 four-strokes, along comes the fastest 250 stroker ever.
It is the fastest 250 stroker ever, Chris, and 60 bhp, as this bike chucks out, used to be the kind of horsepower you would expect from a proper out-and-out Grand Prix race bike just a few years ago. So with 139 kilos being the weight of the bike, it really is quite a potent package. Great motorcycle to ride. And it looks good too. It looks like it's come from a GP type of motorcycle. It looks like it's descended from a Grand Prix bike. It's filtered through the Grand Prix bikes onto the road, and it feels that way.
A bike then not far short of an out-and-out racer. But what about all those initials? As a BOF, that's a boring old fart, Keith, can you explain them all?
It's the way you tell them, Chris, and certainly it is a very strange phenomena. It's written all over this motorbike, SAPC, I think that stands for Suzuki Advanced Power Control. AETC2 is Automatic Exhaust Timing Control. And MDIS, a multiple digit ignition system. Well, that's certainly something that should keep our OWNRP, that's overweight non-riding person, amused anyway.
OK, Ewan, back to the engine. It's quite a motor, isn't it?
90-degree V-twin, that in itself I would say is quite radical as far as the road's concerned. Great to look at. Good slow speed response, over 6,000 RPM, it's right on the button. I love two-strokes anyway, especially for the road. They have a wonderful feel about them compared with four-strokes. Gearbox, 6-speed, maybe a little bit notchy I would say, but very, very nice indeed.
Going fast's all very well, but is it comfortable to ride?
For me, believe it or not, as a 6-footer, I thought that the bike was probably more comfortable than the big bikes because you've got so much room on the thing. Everywhere you sit, you've got loads of leg room, loads of arm room, and you can move around on a little bike fairly well as well, whereas the big four-strokes, you've got to hang on to them real hard.
That's riding solo. What about with a passenger on board?
I would never want to be a passenger on one of these motorcycles. It's just an impossible machine. It feels okay when you're actually riding the bike with a passenger on, or even though the passenger is perched right up in the air, right up in the wind, very exposed indeed. In fact, our pillion passenger, Rachel, she said that it's the first time she's ever been on a motorcycle and been filled in with flies as a passenger, so her visor needed cleaning as well. And she deemed it the worst pillion bike ever, and had the terrible bum syndrome after just 100 miles and had to wander around on all fours to get rid of it.
Well, a high-performance motorcycle, and surely the price you pay for high performance must be terrible fuel economy.
Fuel economy was terrible. 70 to 90 miles and we were having to fill the bike up again. That's all we could do on it. Mind you, it was working very, very hard, it has to be said. It was flat out everywhere. We gave it no mercy whatsoever.
So, it's super fast and thirsty, but does it stop?
With just 139 kilos and twin 300mm discs on the front with 4-pot calipers, this thing absolutely stops on a sixpence, if you can remember them, Chris. Superb is the only word for it.
Remember sixpences? I've got a pot full. What about the handling on the RGV?
I thought that the RGV was a good handling motorcycle, but it's been set up for the road and they've really overdone it. It's too soft, it's underdamped as far as I'm concerned. It took a bit of the sparkle away from the bike on the road. James Hayden, I think, mentioned on the track that it felt too soft. Well, really on the road it felt even softer to me. I didn't like it at all as far as that was concerned, and I would have to modify the suspension slightly to suit me. And I'm not overly heavy.
Well, new for 93 is the new style bridge-type swinging arm.
Yes, that's a bit of a political wrangling going on here, I think, with another manufacturer regarding the style of swinging arms, and so Suzuki have changed to the bridge-style one, which works very well. I defy anybody on the road to really be able to feel any difference.
So, it's light and fast, 130 miles an hour, and weighs just 139 kilos. Does that make it a great bike, Keith?
I think it's one of those bikes that I would always want to have in my stable. If you can find a good 250 road bike, In the stable, there are certain days, summer days, where you can blast around tight lanes. You can get out of trouble on a small 250. Even when you're committed to a turn, you always seem to be able to do things with them that you wouldn't be able to do on a big bike that's rushing in there with a lot of weight and a lot of brakes on. I like 250s, they are good fun bikes.
So is there a need for the GSXR-1100 WP?
Oh yes, there's always a need for a GSXR-1100. You've got to have one of those in your stable as well. I mean, both these motorcycles, Suzuki make good bikes, and the GSXR-1100, 7 odd years old now in its design concept, but of course changing every year. It's always, the evolution of the bike is so good, but a great bike too.
The bike we filmed on the road is the restricted version, but still knocking out 112 brake horsepower. More about that later though. Suzuki have made some chassis modifications for 93 though, Keith.
Yeah, they seem to go backwards and forwards with various modifications they do. Again, rake and trail have been changed, but they finally hit on a combination that seems to work. I like the general package of the way the motorcycle felt. The swinging arm, it's a massive, great pressed affair, so they've really gone heavily on stiffness this year. Bit of relief for the exhaust on the right-hand side, but not on the left. We wonder why that is. Steering damper. I thought there wasn't one on this bike, but it's now tucked up under the bottom yoke. So some quite useful modifications, even still, after 7 years of development.
And how do all those modifications affect this year's 1100?
Quite well, I think, on the road generally. The roads that we used again this year were quite bumpy, quite rough. Comparing it back to the 92 model that I did a test on again, it's a good bike. I liked it better than the 92 version. Certainly as a general road package it was much more useful. It felt bigger, I have to say, more stable definitely, didn't quite have that hinge in the middle that I think the 92 version did have. The 92 version though I think was the full-blown unrestricted version, whereas this one was a little bit slower perhaps than the original bike that we tried before.